Hey, it's Steve Zonardo here with Real Estate on Record. We got Mike Gaddy here and a special guest, a really good friend of mine, brother from another mother, Hussein Gabani, Remax in the East End of Toronto.
That's right.
Mr. Hussein Gabani, what is up?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me on here. I'm going to be invading your social media and your space here for a moment.
Nice, buddy.
Yeah.
Of course.
It's awesome.
So just like fun fact, me and Hussein used to do a podcast a long time ago. It was called East Meets West podcast. It was pretty good.
It was good.
Yeah, I liked it. It was just obviously
Just scheduling and
logistics
whatnot that
yeah.
happened to it. Yeah. It was
But-
good. So I trade real estate in basically Durham region. Main focus is Pickering. Been doing it for the last like 12 years. It's been an awesome experience being able to do it, and been able to build a real estate portfolio as at the same time of doing it. Really happy about it in terms of like even being able to buy future land development and getting kind of a little bit more knowledge about how to further that section of it, and working with Steve and the conversations that we have, it's helped me build a really cool business as well, and that's kind of what we're about.
Yeah, me and Hussein were like the yin and yang. We run in the same circles and just on different sides. It's like we're running. It's almost like what is it? It's like different. Cycles of the world. I don't know. It's similar. Like we're in the same timeline, but we're not. And it's just, we're always on the east and west coast, but or east and west end rather. And it's usually at the end of the year, usually similar business ends. We don't talk sometimes 2-3 months, and
For
it's
sure.
like we're always on track.
We're kind of on the same wavelength.
100%. And then what we're doing here today, actually, we're actually in Blue Mountain. We usually do a yearly mastermind meeting between, it used to be me and Hussein usually, and then now Mikey's in it clearly. And then we had another agent that was out here that owned a mortgage practice. But what we do is now just brainstorm for the 24, like the next season. So, I mean, that's what we're doing here. That's why we're in a little bit of a different place.
Yeah, but it's always important to go back, especially at times like this, right? Where we have so much change kind of happening in the market. There is a lot of uncertainty, and then it just gives us a moment to kind of get away from our reality for a moment and just kind of, figure out how we can move forward and figure out like how things are going to move.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely, and that's the whole point. I think this weekend what we did is we're basically curtailing different plans going into 2024 because obviously we know the markets, it's not certain. We don't have like a finite way that it's looking currently right now. So we're going in with 3 different plans: status quo, like currently what we have now in the market, a declining market if we have that lag period defining takes into effect, and then we have like a pretty aggressively bad year next year, like in the sense of like real estate losing value, and also if there's a good year. So we put 3 plans together, and then what we're going to do is like an old video game with like a cartridge, just going to plug in whatever game we need at the time.
Exactly.
So,
as it comes.
Yeah. This is also a weekend. We've been, again, me and Hussein's been doing this for how long? What has it been, 6 years, 7 years?
6-7 years. Yeah.
So we also get together, like we go deep into, like we call it a prophecy letter. We kind of write out a plan, like an actual prophecy of the next year. If we had to write a perfect year, how would it look? So we kind of write out a prophecy based on the goals, our financial goals, our spiritual goals, our physical goals, our mental goals, and also our family goals. And we kind of wrap it all up into a prophecy letter, which is great because it kind of puts context in the actual goals that we're doing, like putting like a flavor, like color to it. So it reminds you of like, why do you wake up in the morning? Like, why do you work so hard? Like,
It kind of re-energizes the whole thing, right? It's like you basically took your batteries are kind of running low and you just recharged everything and you got refocused.
And it helps
energized.
give you a life by design versus just like flying by the seat of your
Exactly.
pants.
Yeah. You're more purpose driven at this point right now, right? Because you took the time to decompress, put your thoughts out, and basically laid out a plan of how you want to move forward. Again, for yourself and then for your clients at the same time. Yeah.
Well, everyone benefits because you're healthy or mentally, physically. So everyone's going to benefit off that new energy that you're bringing into, let's say. Because we know clearly being in the business 13, 14 years, we were around the same time we got in. There's not many agents that do this. I don't think there's I don't know, what percentage for them would you think?
I don't know. Like, to be honest, I know that agents do go out on retreats and stuff like that, like through other companies and whatever else like that. But to individually plan,
Like
I really
brainstorm
haven't.
like this.
I haven't really run across that.
Yeah.
So what are you guys thinking in regards to, now that you've done all this reflection, what do you think going into 2024? What can we foresee?
I think like Hussein said, I think part of it's going to be what the Bank of Canada has to say?
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. It's really hard at this point right now to basically navigate, come up with the solid plan to navigate how we're going to move forward, even for the next 4 or 6 months. And then even moving forward, like Steve said, like there is no real data. There's no mirror image of what's kind of happening over here that you could lay on top and say, hey, this is how it's going to move forward. I mean, the closest I think we could try to get to this, the late 80s, early 90s. Obviously, we weren't trading at that point, but we could go back and look at the history. And I think one key defining factor at this point right now is that, we're not at 20% interest rate. And I mean, we're so interest rate sensitive right now
100%.
that we are even waiting for the next 2 or 3 weeks for Bank of Canada to tell us if it's going to go up a quarter point, because that's going to scare the heck out of the market.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
No, people can't afford to hold them, buddy. Right now, it's a huge struggle. How many calls I get a day with clients that can't hold properties and they have to sell, or they got to downsize, or they got to move out of the area? It's coming to that point where it's like, hey, it's quality of life rather than sticking every last red cent I have into this house and I'm not getting anything out of it. It's a depreciating asset. I'm miserable. I'm not happy. So let's just sell. And, sell it, cash out now while we still can, move into something smaller or a different area, pay down more of the mortgage, have like more of a manageable debt level, and then ultimately have a better quality of life. I think people are starting to switch gears with that currently right now, where it's not about living next to, their friends and the area that they always wanted to live in. Now they care about just the quality of their lives, right? How they feel every day, basically, because you don't want to be tied up to something like that where there's no end to it,
And just to further add to that point a little bit, it's like I find that since money was so cheap, a lot of people were kind of like keeping up with the Joneses type of thing because you could afford to do it.
It was easier.
Yeah, exactly. Like with houses, with cars, with doing home renovations, because interest money was so cheap.
Pools.
Yeah, pools.
Huge.
Exactly. So the thing is that now I think what's happened is the harsh reality has kicked in of basically saying, hey, financially I can't do it. And they're coming to terms with it. Like, I think they're starting to come to terms with it that I actually don't need all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think, I think we're both getting calls at this point right now where people are kind of realizing it and saying, hey, it's not really worth the stress of carrying this thing anymore, right? Like, I don't need to look this cool. I rather have my life. I rather not work 2 jobs or 3 jobs. And I'd rather spend time with my kids, right?
I think it's also like cause and effect, because we all want everything. Remember, we just did our prophecy letters, and I told you today it was like mine's a lot shorter than what it normally is. It's because a lot of stuff I've completed, and I don't need to replace them anymore. So now I'll focus on other stuff that in my life that I want to improve. But it's like same thing with people. It's like cause and effect, where it's like now they have the house, the area, because the schools were supposedly better, which they're not. Like a lot of the schools are, especially after COVID, a lot of things changed, right? Especially in schooling and stuff like that. So it's like, so what are we doing here? So we're 5 minutes, 10 minutes away from our parents, maybe an aunt or whatever it is. And it's like, it's not a big deal. We don't see anybody anymore. Like the dynamic with family of like visiting and kind of checking in all the time, like every weekend or see them once or twice a week, doesn't exist anymore in my world. And I'm not the only one that sees that or experiences that on a normal basis. And we're Italian. It's supposed to be like that huge influx, everyone coming over, but it doesn't happen. You see siblings once a month if you're lucky, or a birthday. But other than that, it's so a lot of these people are like, well, what's the point? We're carrying these massive debts to be closer to what? We're still 45 minutes outside downtown. It's like, what's the difference?
Yeah, you
it's
don't
not
need
like
it.
we really need to be there.
Yeah.
Give up that location and actual size of house for quality of life is going a long way these days.
Yeah.
Do you believe in investments outside of Canada? Kind of like our buddy Steve.
Yeah. 100%. Like, I mean, Steve's already illustrated that there are a lot of great opportunities when you look outside of Canada, especially like some of the stuff that you've been talking about lately too, right? Like seasonal rentals on the houses that you guys have over there. Like the rents are crazy. Like you were mentioning ROIs of like 15
No, 8 to 10 points for
8
sure.
to 10 points. Yeah. Like, I mean, it's just massive. It's something that you're not actually getting over here right now. And it depends on if somebody has a comfort level, right? Like here right now, what are you going to do? You're going to go buy, like if we talk about my hood, Pickering, we just sold a townhouse right now that's like $950,000, right? You put your 20 points down on that thing and you go to rent it out. Well, guess what? You're going to be negative cash flow on that thing. I don't know, to the tune of $1,500, maybe $2,000. Like, is it? Yeah, in the negative. Like, because you're going to get rent for that thing for what, like, you know, $3,300 or something like that. You're nowhere near being able to carry that thing with the property tax and whatnot. So, and then the other challenge that comes up right now is that, you know, people have to change their mindset a little bit, because whatever the rate of growth that we got over the past like 5-7 years, to think that forecast that forward, I don't think that's happening. So it's not like you're going to take the short-term pain and all of a sudden, like, you know, you're guaranteed that it's going to go up. So it might be worth considering to go out to Florida, where you can kind of get in at a certain price, where you are possibly like probably cash flow positive.
100%
Yeah,
cash flow positive.
and these properties are still going up. So it's like, and you can afford to get into those things, right? Like what you're talking about bungalows, 1,800 square foot bungalow, double car garage, 3-bed, 3-bath at
380.
380
US
like,
US
come on,
US dollars.
for 500-ish.
Canadian.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah,
500.
500.
What would that cost you here?
1.2, 1.3.
Yeah. Even in my neck of the woods, right? Like that's that much. Even if you go down to Oshawa, like you're not less than $900,000 there, and you're not getting your money.
And you know what? So you're on the point with that too, right? You're just to touch on it. Like ultimately, it's not like you're sacrificing quality or location. You're getting in the Gulf of Mexico in a brand new product in a gated community with amenities where people actually cut your grass, they water your lawn, and so it's actually a higher standard of living and a higher standard of real estate.
Yeah.
Like if you played Monopoly, it's on the Park Avenue side. You know what I'm saying? Or at least on the or wherever
Yeah.
the other ones are. Louisiana, like I'm talking, this is like prime real estate compared to if you spent let's say $500,000 here, for example. What would you buy?
You can. You
Impossible.
could buy
You're
one
gonna
of
go
the
to
pre-con,
Edmonton.
like
Condo.
yeah. Oh, I was just actually funny enough. You mentioned Edmonton because I was going to even talk about Calgary, because I'm getting people asking me about Calgary and whatnot. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like I just don't trust that market at
same
all.
here.
Taking your money out there and putting it out there, and even when people ask me, I was like, I don't know if you're going to think about going to Calgary. I'd rather try to come up with a little bit of extra funds. I know it's hard, but then I would still kind of invest it around the GTA because it's a
1,000%.
market I understand better. If you're not willing to go out of the country.
1,000%. We have clients too that love it down there. They're buying, even colleagues actually. They bought a stack of them. I think there was someone that was selling pre-con down there. But it's like a lot of the people that bought are regretting it. They're like, what they bought originally is not what they got in delivery, because these things, they were slapping them up together. One of them was missing a bathroom. So you bought like a 2-bed, 2-bath condo, and it came with a 2-bed and 1-bath.
Wow.
Where's the recourse?
They're gonna have to rectify that.
How? And what like they don't think that, if you probably read that lengthy contract that they put together, I bet you guarantee that there's something in there that they have to, some form or function where they have to remove something like that, it's in there. So you paid for a 2-bath and you got a 1-bath. So a lot of the people that bought down there regretting it. Some of them have bought like townhouses and stuff like that. They seem like they think it's a decent investment. But I think if I had to go visit my rental properties, like outside of Ontario, it's easier to go to Florida than to Alberta. Let's face it.
It's much nicer.
Yeah, and at least you get a
Much
beach
nicer.
vacation out of it, right?
Check out the beach while you're there.
To go to Florida than Alberta.
What's a flight? Like you would know better than me. What's a flight down there?
Yeah, like the flight, I think, to get out there is still like at least $700 to $1,000 to get to Alberta.
What's the length of time? Yes.
Yeah, it's yeah. Yeah. So it's a longer even flight to get to Alberta than it is.
Yeah, it's twice the time. 2.5
Exactly.
to Florida, to my neck of the woods.
And then how much do you fly down there for? Like
We got a flight, $28.
$28.
Yeah.
No, it was like 82.
$82.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the profit
It's an
level like from
an Uber
Calgary to
drive.
Florida?
What's that?
What's the profit margins like? Does Florida look better?
Yeah, for sure. So number one migrating a state in all of America. You can't put Alberta on any scale of an American state. Let's face it. Like it's not going to happen. It's Canada, guys. I'm Canadian, but you can't put it on the same scale as a state like in America, where it's a number one migrating state. Then number 2 for business applications in all of America and highest population growth. Like it's on a whole nother level. It's like playing a single A hockey than playing NHL. They're 2 different leagues. I don't know how else you would put it. Yeah.
I think it's what's driving Florida too. Is like you said, a lot of business applications, corporations moving down there. Versus Calgary is like taking overflow for people that can't afford in Toronto, people that can't
And
afford in
investors,
Vancouver, and investors,
Yeah.
right? So I think there's just the actual people and that are investing in Florida
So
better.
Calgary, people from the GTA are getting out because they can't afford here no more. But Florida, they're investing because maybe they want a better way of life.
for and tax purposes, right? Corporations are moving a lot of money down there for the tax savings, like for sure, from New Jersey, New York, all the big states that are getting taxed heavily,
And Canada.
and Canada,
What
that
did
are
we say, Steve, we're at 40% taxes here, what did we say?
53.
54. Yeah. On a high income level, right? 53? 53.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
52,
53 and a half.
54.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
So half your income you're giving to the government.
more than
Yeah. Yeah, there you don't pay state income tax, so it's a way better doing everything. If you're mind you, I think Alberta has the same laws, but like we don't have rent control there in Florida. Our landlord tenant board act is a lot more pro landlord rather than tenant, so we can get a lot of more things done there. You have more control of your investment. Let's say, like you're putting up all the money, you're putting up all the risk, you're dealing with all the day to day on it. Like you should be rewarded at the end through.
So you get the most protection.
Yeah, and not to mention like tax laws there. Like we have a thing in the States called a 1031 switch, as they call it. It's basically I can sell a property if I made $1 million in capital on it, like capital made on the property. I can take that whole $1 million and move it into another property and not pay $1 in tax. Like, how faster can you snowball your investments like that? Like you're always trying to move up. So if you bought a townhouse first, then you bought a detached, and a detached you bought a multiplex, then you bought like a small strip, then it's like buy a building. Like I mean, just kind of see like the progression. If you really don't need that money to survive on your investments, you can keep rolling it up into a larger one to get it to upscale your life. It's like why, like to me that's someone patting on your back. It's like, hey, you work hard, you deserve it, keep building. That's the whole point.
So now where can they find you if they want to find you?
If they want to find me, they could probably find me the easiest way on Google. They can Google Get Kabani. We're on Instagram, YouTube.
What's your Instagram handle?
It's at Get Kabani, and same with our Facebook and our YouTube.
And you guys, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram
know
at
what
Mike Gaddy Realtor.
You know where to find me. If you're watching this, you can figure it out.
You've
Tap a
already
link.
found them.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. It's a great honor to have Hussein here sitting with us, and we're gonna bow out now, and we'll see you in the next episode. Have a great day. Ciao.
Ciao.